Hey everybody, this is the fourth here, and welcome to part 5 of my Hardstyle kick tutorial series. Now, if you haven't already, I definitely recommend you go back and watch from part 1, because if you don't, you're missing out on a bunch of good information and you'll probably be pretty lost. So to do that, there's just a link to the playlist in the description that you can just click on. Okay, so let's get started. Now, part 5 is all about putting the final touches onto your kick and, just getting that final sound. Now, this part isn't about mixing your kick or anything like that, so I'd recommend you not really try to do any mixing until later on, but this is just getting the kick sound as itself to sound as good as it can, so that it's ready to be mixed into your song. And so the first thing you'll usually want to do is some kind of EQ work. And, this is just to kind of clean up your final sound. If you have to do too much, what I would recommend is you go back into your layering phase or into your distortion phase to clean stuff up in those stages, because it'll produce a lot better result, and there's only so much cleaning you can do at this step. But really during this step, what you want to do is cut out anything that's kind of distracting from your kick sound, and possibly making small boosts to areas that need boosted. So one thing that you'll definitely want to do is cut out any resonating frequencies that you don't want. So in this kick example, it might be hard to hear, but there is a resonating tone in the low mids or the high bass. So you can hear, I've found it. And if I just cut that down a little bit, it sounds a decent bit better. So here's with the cut, and here's without the cut. So what you want to do is listen to the sound, and if you should be able to hear these. And it is possible that your speaker setup can trick you into thinking there are resonating tones where there aren't. So what I would always do is, if you're not wearing headphones, just play the kick, and if you hear something that sounds like it's resonating, put your ear up to only one of your speakers, or mute one of your speakers, so that you won't have any kind of phasing issues caused by your acoustic environment. And if you still hear that resonating tone, then it's definitely there. But if you don't hear it anymore, then it means it was just a trick that the waveforms coming out of your speakers were playing on you. So if you do hear that, what you want to then do is make a very narrow band on one of your EQ bands and kind of sweep through until you find that resonating tone. And as you do this, it will create resonating tones, but you want to listen for specifically the one that you heard, or the several that you heard. So this is the one that I heard. And then, once you find it, you just want to cut it until you don't hear it resonating anymore. And you shouldn't have to cut it too much. Because if you start cutting it too much, then you'll be taking away some of the character of the kick. And you don't want to do that. You just want to cut it enough so that you no longer have that resonance. So I had 2 resonating tones in this one. And you can hear when I turn the EQ off, it sounds a lot cleaner now that I've cut out those resonating tones. And, if you have a kick that has way too much of a low mid presence, like it sounds really strange like that, you would definitely want to kind of cut that out as well. If there's not enough bass, you should boost the bass. And just get the kick so that it sounds good on its own. And then it shouldn't be too hard to mix into your track. But the really important thing is cutting out these resonant tones, because that's the stuff that you can't fix with EQ while you're mixing. Not very easily, at least, because if I change the pitch of it, you'll hear the resonating tones are back. And that's just because the frequencies are all moving up. So you definitely want to do this before pitching your kick. So once you have your EQ done, especially if you've done a lot of layering, you will want to use either compression or distortion to get your kick to kind of blend together better. Now, if you've done your layering right, it shouldn't sound like completely unblended. Like, it shouldn't sound completely weird, because you're not going to be able to fix that. You should have played with the phases, played with the layering, and all that stuff so that it sounded pretty natural in the first place. But the compression or distortion at this stage will kind of complete that effect and sound it really whole and really natural. So, you just do the compression as you would with other sounds. I personally don't use compression. I like to use saturation distortion or soft clipping distortion, which are really very similar, just with different thresholds, mainly. But, a lot of people like to use compression. So, figure out what you want to use. And just use those effects to get the kick to blend well. And you can use them at more extreme values. If you really want to change the character of the kick, I could throw on the clipping distortion. And, change the character a decent amount more. But if you're really happy with your character, you really just want saturation or very light distortion. And you can use any other kinds of effects that you think would be necessary. These really are the only ones that I use, is EQ and light distortion, just to cut out those ringing tones and get the EQ levels of the kick where I need them to be, and then to finish blending the kick together. But if you want to, you could use multi-band compression and whatever else you could think of to help you get your final sound. I know in one instance I used a multi-band compressor to clean up the high end. So what I was actually doing was expanding in the high end and then bringing the final volume down a lot, so that it just cleaned up the high end, because I didn't want such a busy high end in that kick. So you just have to process the final kick however you want to get it ready to be put into your track. Thanks for watching my tutorial video. I hope you found it to be helpful. If you want to learn more, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can watch new videos as soon as I upload them. After that, check out the Beat School website. I'll have the link in the description. All my tutorials are organized on the site so that you can easily find what you need by browsing through the different categories. There are also a ton of awesome resources to help you in every aspect of music production. And if you want to help support me, you can buy any of my sample packs, preset packs, or project files for only $5 or less. This gets you some great sounds for a great price and allows me to spend more time making these tutorials and working on the website. Thanks again for watching my video, and have a great day.